Yo, welcome back to another episode of Real Talk No Excuses, and I'm your host, Patrick Reed, but I go by P. Today, we'll be talking about knowing when the right time to move and when to stay patient until it's that time. But before we get into all that, I hope everyone is having a blessed day. And you know how I like to do before we get everything started, we're going to start off with a prayer. Father God, we thank you again for blessing us to see another day. God, we ask you to keep your hands on us, guide us, and strengthen us. Help us, Lord, to stay on the path that you have for us. Show us the way and guide us. When we're lost, God, give us the light to follow. When we need help, God, give us the strength we need to make it through. God, we thank you again for everything that you can do for us because we're nothing without you, Lord. And we thank you again for it all. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Now that we gave God his thanks, invited him in the room, let's get on today's topic for today. Knowing when is the right time to move and when it's okay to be patient until it is the right time. Now, me speaking for myself, this right here is a good topic because a lot of us, we live in a world that we want a microwave style lifestyle. Like everything is instant. Like if we go to the store today, we want it today. We go to the dealership to get a car, we want it today, or a house, whatever it is we want it right then, right now. We want that perfect relationship right then, right now. We want that the job, the promotion, all that right then, right now. But we don't know when it's okay to stay still and be patient for certain things. And on the flip side, sometimes we don't know when to move because sometimes we stay still in places where we should have been left and should have been moved from. But the two work hand in hand. Sometimes we do need to stay still a little longer in places that we don't want to stay still in because a bigger promotion be coming to us our way. And also, moving too fast can also destroy us as well. I feel like we all have certain seasons where we have up moments and when we have down moments. And the moments when we're down, before we make any type of move or decision, we need to go first to God and ask Him, is this the right time for me to make this type of move? Because we don't know what's ahead for us. We don't know what God has planned or what He might be holding us back from. Sometimes we might think we're ready for certain things when we're not. We don't know the plans God may have for us. So the best thing to do is keep Him involved with everything you do. Me myself personally, I know for a fact that I done moved a lot of times with doing buying things or dealing with people or going places where I didn't involve God. I just jumped and did it because that's what I wanted to do. And right after I did those things, I regretted it. Like this one time I went out and bought a truck. I wanted a truck so bad because everybody at my job, they had one. They had these pickup trucks. Now I had a pickup truck at the time, but it was an older one. But I wanted a new one just because all the other guys had one. So I drove around looking and looking and looking, and I finally found one. I found this Avalanche 2013 Chevy Avalanche. It was 4-wheel drive. It was a nice color. Everything I wanted. So plus I was used to driving Avalanches because my dad had one. So I was like, this is gonna be the perfect truck for me to get. I went down there, test drove the truck, and everything ran smooth at first. So the man finally told me what I had to put down to get it and everything. So I was like, you know what? I got it. I'm gonna go ahead and do it. Not thinking nothing else about the truck. I didn't pray about it. I just went ahead and jumped on it and did it. When I tell you that was the biggest mistake I ever done, right after that, I drove home in the truck. Now it's the winter time, so I ain't thinking about it at first. I'm thinking it just take a while for it to warm up. I done cut the heat on in it and everything. Now I get down the road, now my heat didn't up and start working, air blowing out. So I called the dealership like, hey man, I just bought this truck from y'all and the heat not working. So he was like, well, you got to bring it back and we'll have our mechanic work on it and you can get it back in about 2 days. Now, I was kind of, I wasn't a fan of it because I already stayed an hour away. I just spent all this money on this truck, but I got to take it back for y'all to fix it and I'm going to get it back in 2 days. That didn't sit right with me, but I did it. We took the truck back and like he said, 2 days later, I got it back. As we riding home from picking it up from getting getting the heat fixed in it, I get a flat tire. The tires really weren't no good, so I ended up getting a replacement tire put on the truck and then turned around and went back home. But 2 weeks after that, I ended up having to take it back to the shop again to where I got it from because it started jerking. Now I had this truck less than a month, and it's pretty much just spent more time at the shop than it did with me because it took them a week and a half to fix it from jerking. And these people still wanted their money for the payment on time. And I'm sitting there like, y'all done had the truck longer than I have. So what I supposed to do about that? I became more and more and more frustrated with the decision I made, which I should have waited and actually looked around some more for a better vehicle. I end up keeping the truck, I think, for almost 2.5 months because the next month I had another problem. And when that last problem came, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to take it back. I took it back to him. I told him, hey, I don't even want it no more. It's becoming more of a hassle than anything. And these people didn't want to take the truck back at first. But it was in the contract I had. I had 90 days where if I didn't want to keep the truck, I could have brought it back. So that's what I did. But they didn't want to take the truck back. They made excuses about it and everything else. But I told them, I said, I read the contract and I remember what it said in the fine print. So I end up, they was trying to say, well, they was gonna take me to court and everything else. And I was like, you can't take me to court for something that y'all wrote in the paper. So I end up dropping the truck off. I gave them the keys and I drove off. Don't you know them folks never called me back talking about a court date. They never tried to sue me or press charge, nothing like that. They just didn't want me to take the truck, but they thought they was gonna keep getting over on me with the truck. But it was nobody but God showing me a lesson like don't jump and rush to buy and do anything. And I learned my lesson from that day forward on not just buying something just because it looked nice on the outside or without me praying and involving him in with it before buying anything I do or even asking people about certain places where I get stuff from. I learned a valuable lesson that day that I'll never forget. I also experienced another one, like I said, when staying in place too long where I shouldn't be staying at. I end up getting this girlfriend where I thought this was gonna be a match made in heaven. We met at church and everything, so I was just feeling like, okay, yeah, this gonna be the one. But during that whole relationship, everything went bad. When I say everything, I mean everything. I ended up having to move from Memphis back down here to Ripley, which was a bummer. My dogs, I lost both of my dogs, who was my money makers, and only my dad. They were like family to me. On top of that, my car messed up. I know y'all probably thinking like, what does that have to do with the girl? And I'm about to explain it all to you. I got in a season where God was showing me that I didn't need nobody but Him. But instead, I was too busy trying to stay in a relationship or be in a relationship. God was making a way for me out of no way. And I just kept praying to him like, hey, I was asking him to help me with my relationship with this girl and he was trying to show me I didn't need a woman at the time. I just need to focus on me and him. Well, while we dating this girl, it seemed like it was constantly a bad effort with everything. Yeah, I lost all my stuff, but at the same time, me and her, it started off good. Like I felt like it was a perfect match. We was getting along, we was building. Well, I thought we was building, but the whole time she had a hidden agenda. It's like while I was trying to bring in peace, she was trying to destroy the peace. She always accused me of cheating when I wasn't cheating, and I had proof to show it. I could always catch her going through my phone, and she was just being there doing weird stuff, which I never understood why. I could clean up the house and everything, and she'd get mad because she felt like I shouldn't be cleaning up the house. She felt like she felt less than a person because I was the one cleaning up, and I didn't understand that at all. But it's like she just wanted to make something out of nothing with everything. But in reality, she had some stuff she was battling with amongst herself that she didn't tell me about, which I didn't understand it until after the fact. It got to the point so bad where me and her be arguing in front of my we would be arguing in front of my mom and them, my sisters and all them, and it became something normal, which that wasn't good at all. It was just toxic. I remember being in church one day and I heard the preachers, you been in that place too long. When you was with me, things was going good. But now that you decided to make your own relationship with this own person without me being involved, and you been here too long, you see how things have been going for you. He got to talk about see how you lost a lot and where you could just stay focused with me, things could have been better. And it was like he was saying that it was God was saying to him for somebody in the audience. And I felt it because I felt like that was me. Because if I just would have stayed still and not try to jump and move and get in this. And I stayed in the situation way too long where I seen the red flags in the beginning, but I overlooked them. I wouldn't be in the situation that I was in. But all that made me grow stronger as a person. But I learned. And sometimes they say it make a hard head make a soft behind. And I believe it because my hard head I learned very, very, very fast where if God gives you direction to do this thing, this is what you should do. Not what you feel like you should do, but what he's giving you signs of to do. So this goes out for anybody, man, woman. If you're in certain situations where you see things are not going good and you've been in this situation over and over again too long, go to God. Ask him to help you to get out of it. Ask him for his forgiveness. Ask him to lead you. Ask him to guide you. Don't keep thinking you being there is your ceiling or it can't get better for you because it can. But just go to God and involve him with everything you're doing. But at the same time, don't move too fast thinking that you can make a way out of your own way. Because if you find a way to make your own way and you don't involve God in it, you'll find yourself in a worse predicament than you was already in the first place. So before you do anything, make sure you're making the best choice, knowing when to move and when not to move. Ask some people, get around people that you know that you can trust. Ask them to what they think about this, but pray about it first too. It's okay to get wise counsel and advice from people, especially when you seeing them doing good. Now, what works for them might not work for you, but it's okay to ask for help and it's okay to ask for advice, especially if you don't know what you're doing or buying certain items or getting certain things or even jumping out there and doing some new adventure or gig or business. Ask someone first who has that experience. I want to do something new that I haven't brought to the podcast. We're going to call this a no excuse moment. So the goal is to start making a point in life where we stop making excuses for things we do that we know mean us no good. So with this no excuse, we're gonna stop making excuses of why we stayed in a certain place too long, or why we ain't left a place, or why we ain't moving yet. We're gonna start walking by faith and not by sight and trusting God with everything that we're doing. So if you know it's your time to step out on faith, make this step. If you know that you've been somewhere too long and you want to see better for yourself, pray about it and go to God and see if it's time for you to move. Trust his judgment and follow whatever he tells you to do. If God is telling you to stay still because it's a meaning behind the staying still. Sometimes that water he's pouring on you to stay still is to help you grow. That flower, that beautiful flower, people love to talk about that rose, that sunflower, whatever like that. Guess what it has to grow? It has to have water. And God is the soil and you're the seed. So trust him. He knows what he's doing. Just give him the time and give him the right patience and watch everything turn around in your favor. So for story time today, I'm gonna talk about when I didn't know when it was time for me to move because I was too busy trying to stay still and how God showed me when it was time for me to do something. So a couple months ago, I wanted to figure out something the way to advance my career, my business, and everything else like that with these books and my creativity side. And a while back, when I was in school for electrician, God had already told me like you're gonna end up going back to school, but I didn't know what for. So I was on Facebook one day. I'm just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, and I keep seeing stuff about he's seeing stuff about videography and making movies and stuff like that. And that's always been my dream. Like I want to turn my books into movies and stuff like that. So they was like, join this website if you want to learn more about videography and stuff like that. So I clicked on it and it was a school. So the school was like, just jot down your information and we'll have somebody reach out to you and stuff like that. Me being me, I did it anyway, just to see how it play out. Now, mind you, I work for myself, so my business is at the time is kind of slow. It ain't just jumping and booming. So I'm thinking like, if I go to school, how I'm gonna pay for it? But I knew it was time for me to do something else because I didn't want to keep going down this way. So I was like, I can't keep sitting still, especially when God telling me I gotta move and do something. But what is there for me to do? So about an hour later, I'm sitting there, I'm watching TV, whatever like that. I get a phone call from a Florida number. And when I get the call, it was the school. So they asked me, was I interested in stuff like that, and what made me want to click on the program, whatever like that. So I just told them I was just seeing what was on there and everything, just like that. not making too big of the situation. I was just scrolling, whatever like that. So I explained it to them. So they got to telling me about the different programs they had with videography and music and all that type of stuff. So they asked me what I was into, and I told them I was like, I'm a writer. I've been writing a couple books right now, and I would like to learn more about, making movies and stuff like that because I am interested in it. So that's when the lady go and said, "Well, you sound great for our creative writing class. Would you be interested in it?" And I was like, "What's that?" You know what I'm saying? So she got to explain it to me and telling me all about it. Like you'll learn how to write books, also learn how to write scripts and pilots for video, television, video games, all that type of stuff. She was like, once you finish the program, you'll have a bachelor's degree in creative writing and everything else like this. So I was like, you know what? Yeah, let me sign me up for it. I'll try it out and see. So send me a link, told me to fill out my FAFSA and everything else like this. So I was like, all right, big cool. Now this where the kicker come in at. So when they sent me all the stuff, I got to thinking, you know what I'm saying, in the back of my mind, like, man, I can't pay for this mess. I ain't even gonna do it. So I didn't finish doing the paperwork on it. I let it I just sit around and whatever like that. I looked over it. So they called me back 2 weeks later and they asked me how I was going with filling everything else out. They was like they ain't heard from me or received anything new from me, anything else like this. So I was like, well, I had made excuse like, well, I was kind of busy right now. I was gonna get back to it. So me just lying because I didn't want to tell them like I ain't ready for it yet. I just kept on going with the flow. All of a sudden, I be on YouTube a whole lot. I keep seeing stuff about guys trying to get you to move and it's your time and just trust them during the process and everything else. And so, like during the week, I watched Pastor Mike and he had spoke on a sermon. He was like, "You trying to figure it out when God already has it figured out." He was talking about you worried about how you gonna pay for this and that, and he was just like, "You gotta walk by faith or go ahead and do it. God already got that sourced out." So right then and there, when I heard him say that, I was like, man, that's my sign. I need to go ahead and stop playing around and go ahead and do it. And I was like, well, God, if you show me a sign, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm gonna go ahead and do it. I ain't even gonna make no excuse. I'm gonna just go ahead and be obedient, do what you say. The next day, literally the next day, I get a call back from the school again, and they was like, "Hey, we know we talked to you about like 2 months ago and everything else like that, and we want to know if you still interested in coming in and being a part of the online class." So I was like, "Yeah, I'm interested in it and everything else." And they was like, "We talked to you a while back in July. We want to know why you didn't join then." I was like, well, honestly, I had a lot going on that I didn't know how I was gonna manage to do school and all that type of stuff. But I said this is a part of my dream I want to be a part of, so I'm just gonna trust the process and go with it. So, like I said, at the time I didn't have a laptop, I didn't have a tablet, I didn't have none of that type of stuff. I just had a phone. So I was just gonna walk by faith with it. Don't you know these people was like, well, that's not important. They asked me, did I have all that stuff? And I was like, nah, I ain't got none of that. They was like, well, that's great. They was like, well, we provide what they call a lunchbox. In a lunchbox, they give you like you have to go to school at least for the first month. They want to make sure that you're gonna come, and they give you a new tablet. My these folks sent me a new iPad. Now, no old regular cheap iPad, but the newest one. The sent me the iPad Air 16, which is the newest one out. Then on top of that, they made sure they told me it was mine. I didn't have to return it back when I got out of school, anything else like that. It was mine to keep. They also blessed me like with Adobe Pro and Final Draft and a whole bunch of other little dope features that I could use to make videos and videography and everything else with. But the icing on the cake came when they blessed me with a MacBook Pro, which I mean I fell in love with it. I never owned my own MacBook, but after that, I fell in love with that one. It's like every month they're blessing me with a book or something that enhances my creativity so I learn more about the industry, the business, and everything else. And like I said, it was nobody but God who made that happen for me. I always wonder like how good it could get. And God was showing me just trust him and just follow what he has for me. And I could say I could see myself growing more and more with the business. I've been making like video covers. And that's on my side business, not what I learned from school. I done made little mini commercials for people and stuff like that. And I get people who compliment me on my work and even with my writing skills now, it enhanced so much for me being in school. And see, me personally, I didn't think I was ready for this. I'm doing great in school. I got a 3.7 GPA, which is the highest I ever been. It's also been the most I've been ever in tune in school because I just been focused on everything else. Because I used to want to just be the class clown or play around and stuff like that. But now that I done got locked in, I can see how I can make a real business out of this, or not even a business, just turn my career around. It made me dive all the way in. So this is my message for anybody out there. Go to God and ask him what is it that he sees that you should do. Ask him to show you the way, and once he show you, don't worry about how it's gonna get paid for, how it's gonna get done. Don't make no excuses and just do it. Just trust him on what he's telling you and watch how he turns things around for you. But that's all I have for y'all today. I hope y'all have a blessed day. Y'all picked up and learned something. Until next time, I'll see y'all later.